Hi, Mark Gilbert here. This video is entitled Your Personal Spiritual Path. There's 3 points I'd like to make with you in this short video. The first one is that whether you call it as such, you are on a spiritual journey. The second point is that as part of your spiritual journey, you create a mental map of the universe and how it works. And the third point is that in the creation of that map, you look for guidance from other people and the paths they've walked, but that ultimately you have to forge your own path to create an understanding of how life ultimately works for you. Now, to that first point, we're all on a spiritual journey. It's easy for some people to say they're on a spiritual journey, especially those people who are perhaps religious or the spiritual but not religious people. They do sort of look at life as a spiritual journey. But I would say there's another group of people that's very prominent in our society, and that's the people who have a scientific materialistic worldview. And my argument is that they are on a spiritual journey as well. Because to me, the spiritual journey is driven by the need to understand that we all have a human need to give meaning to our lives. Whether we say there's no meaning, that is our meaning, or to say that our meaning is driven by our religious faith or our spiritual beliefs or whatever it is we've come to believe is true about life, that actual putting together this package or this ideas of how we see the universe ultimately working is the spiritual path or the spiritual journey that we're on. And for each of us, that journey is unique and different. Now, my second point is that as part of creating our understanding of the universe, we create a map, a mental map. Now, the map is not the reality. We have to be very clear on that. But we do have a mental structure that says life works like this. And for many people who may be religious, a lot of that map is driven by their religious beliefs. But for many people who are scientific and materialistic in their viewpoint, a lot of their map is driven by the nature that they see the universe as just dead matter knocking into each other using the laws of physics. And then the spiritual people, the spiritual but not religious, often their maps are generated by whatever their spiritual experiences have been through their lifetime. But no matter what your viewpoint is, and I've sort of put you into all of us into three broad camps of ideas or three broad generalized maps, we all have a specific map that we use. You may fall into one of those three camps, but your map is unique to you. Now, as you put together your map, you then use that to move around in life. It helps you to decide what motivates you. What is the purpose of your life? Where are you going? What is the next step that you want to do in your life? It's all driven by the map itself, because this is where you feel like the universe is in truth, and that you and your relationship to the universe is finding your role and your path based on your mental map of the universe. Having said that, where do you learn? How do you learn? You do it by trial and error. You navigate in life and something works and it fits in your map, then you say, okay, that map works. It's just like if you were going from where you live to another town and you went on certain highways, and if you took a wrong turn, you would say, well, my map is not accurate, and you would adjust your map to make it fit what your experience is. Well, it's the same thing as you navigate your life, that as you go out in life and you say, this works for me in terms of getting a job, having a relationship, finding love, raising children, whatever it is that you're navigating in your life, you find by trial and error what works, and you put those truths into your map, and you modify your map continuously based on the feedback that you get from interacting with the world. And that includes not only the physical world, but the non-physical world. If you think that there is life after life, or if you think there are ways to communicate with those who have passed on, or if you think that there is truths that can be tapped into that are beyond the physical realm, that becomes part of your map as well. Just as your spiritual beliefs and what you've been taught and what you've found to be true about your religion can fit into your maps as well. So again, your map is driven by your experiences, and they can have a broad flavor based on whether you're very religious, whether you're spiritual, whether you have a scientific, rational viewpoint on life. There obviously are ways that you can step back and look and meld all of those into your map as well, which is often called the integral viewpoint. Now, having that map, one of the pitfalls that we can each have is that we become so wed to the map. We believe the map is so true for us. We become so emotionally attached to the map that even in the face of evidence that says our map is inaccurate, we seek to explain away the things that don't fit with our map. And in doing that, we are making a grave error, because it's oftentimes the gaps in the map that are the areas that we need to take a look at, and that are areas for our personal growth. And so my encouragement to you is that if you find, for example, that you are very scientific and materialistic in your outlook, but then find little chinks in your story, in your map, that says, well, maybe there is something more to aspects of the non-material realm of life that doesn't fit with my totally materialistic viewpoint, that's an opportunity for you to learn and grow and look at that. Don't just discount it or argue it away. And it's the same thing with very religious people who will cling to their religious beliefs, even in the face of overwhelming evidence that things that they're believing can't possibly be true. Okay, we all can do that, no matter what our viewpoint is. We can get so absorbed into and can have such a strong conviction that we can't let go of something, even though we know in our hearts that it's not right. So my call to you is to continuously update that map and ensure that your map is accurate based on your experience in life. Now, the third point, and this is where it really gets into that uniqueness that I wanted to talk about, is that as you're on your spiritual path and you're making your mental map, you can learn from others. But it's got to be a mixture of learning from others as well as forging your own path. You know, if you're walking in the woods, it's easier sometimes to walk those paths that all the people before you have gone on, because they know the shortcuts and the ways that makes the path easier to get to where you want to go. But at some points, you need to veer off of that, because the path may go to a direction or a particular location that may not be the perfect location for you. So it's easy to follow the path of others, but at a certain point, you've got to be open to the wisdom to get off that path and to forge your own path in your own way. There is a way I often teach this and talk about it, is that we're all teachers and we're all learners. And we're all on the spiritual path, but each person around us is both a teacher to other people and a learner from other people. And one way I kind of like to look at it is like this open-ended conga line where people are dancing and where you're dancing, and somebody sort of comes behind you and follows you for a while. And then at a certain point, they veer off and follow somebody else. And maybe you're following somebody for a little while, and then you veer off and other people are following you. That's the way I sort of see life as. It's real easy for us to get so attached to somebody that we think is our spiritual teacher, somebody that we call a guru or a spiritual and by spiritual, it can be a scientist as well, you know, because we're looking for truth from these people. And we become attached to the truths because they've given us such key indicators of what we think is important in our lives. We have followed such key people that sometimes we continue follow them when we need to look off on our own or follow or forge our own path. And so my encouragement is to sort of use that model for you. Don't get so stuck behind somebody that you stay with them. Stay with them while it is beneficial to you, but then allow yourselves to break off and go your own way in your own unique path. And then also allow yourself to be a teacher for others, to let others come behind you and see you as a model for truths that are going to benefit them. But be okay when they break off from you, because they're finding their own path. And so we're all doing this unique dance of learning and growing, being teachers and learners, and allow that to unfold perfectly. You know, it was over 100 years ago that the Theosophists were grooming Krishnamurti to be their next spiritual guru, their spiritual leader. They wanted to put him out as the great spiritual master that was going to, you know, proclaim the truths for everyone. And when he came out, he made a short speech called Truth is a Pathless Land. Truth is a Pathless Land. You can watch the video of him giving this speech over 100 years ago off on YouTube, and I'll put the link in this video. But the key thing that Krishnamurti was saying is that we have to find truth for ourselves. We have to find our own path, and that path is a pathless land. Now, I do think there are paths that we follow but we have to be able to veer off those paths and create our own path. And that's why I think ultimately when we look at where we are to where we're ultimately going in our spiritual journey, yes, we can follow others, but let's also veer off the path and forge a new path when it suits our needs, when it is in alignment with what we think is true, and it feeds the maps and our understanding of life, not only life in this physical universe, but in any realms that exist beyond this. I hope this video has been helpful to you. If so, please sure to drop a comment in the comment box below and be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.